So in this assignment, I'm going to show you guys how to start the project of supersizing an object. So the object I'm supersizing is this clock radio. And here is my supersized edition. So you see the two together. And I tripled it in size. So today's part one, I'm going to show you how to figure out your measurements and then how to multiply and come up with the final measurements to make your sculpture. Okay, so what you're going to need today to start with is this little worksheet to help you figure out what you're doing and how to measure it and triple it in size. So first on your worksheet, write your name and then list what you are tripling. So my name, period 4, or whatever period you're in. Clock, radio is what I'm tripling. Next, it says, do you have this object with you now? If you do not have it with you, you will need to research its dimensions online. Now on Canvas, I have written the specifics of this assignment with a grading rubric. Make sure that the object you select is at least 3 inches, no smaller than that, and there's more specifics that we'll go over before you start. Next, draw a sketch of your object. So I have a rectangle. Here's the front. There is the top, and then here is the side. Okay, so now I'm going to measure my clock radio. So the width from one side to the other, using my ruler, make sure the zero, the long line with the 0, is lined up with the edge of your object, and then go over. I'm going to estimate that mine is 5.5. Okay, if you're not sure how to read a ruler, I'm sure you can Google how to read a ruler or ask for help. The long line between the two numbers is the half mark, the half-inch mark. So I'm going to say my radio is 5.5 inches wide. Another way to write 5 1/2 is 5.5. It'll become easier to know that when I'm multiplying. Okay, so that's how wide my object is. How tall my object is, the height is approximately 3. You can get more picky if you want, but if it's pretty close and you just want to stick with whole numbers, I recommend that. So the height is 3 inches. So now I have how long, how tall. I need to know how far back it goes, how deep. So the depth is 2 1/2 inches, approximately. So please use inches, not centimeters, when you're measuring. Okay? And so another way to write 2 1/2 is to write 2.5. Okay, so now I know that the front of my object, this is the front. I know that it is 5.5 from here to here. I know that the front is 3 inches tall. I'm going to need to know those measurements so I know what size to cut my cardboard. For the side of my object, I know that the depth is 2 1/2 or 2.5. And I know the height again is 3 inches. The top is going to be 5.5 inches long or wide. And then the depth we know is 2.5. 7.5. Okay, this is important to know so that I know how to cut my cardboard. Okay, so this is what I have so far, labeled my object. Next, I need to think about multiplying everything by 3. Okay, so if I know that my rectangular prism, I know this has 6 sides. It has a top and a bottom, so that's 2, a front and a back, that's 4, and 2 sides. So I know I need 6 pieces of cardboard, but I need to know for each piece how long it is and how wide it is. So having this diagram is very helpful so that I know that I'm going to need 2 pieces that are 5.5 or 5.5 by 3 inches. So I'm going to need, again, I'm going to have to triple these, but I need to get these basic dimensions. I'll need 2 pieces that are 2.5 times 3, or by 3. And I'll need 2 that are 5.5 by 2.5 inches. Now before I go ahead and enlarge them, I have to think about, okay, let's draw another picture. You know, if you are able to do this without all this work, great, but it may be helpful to go through this whole process. Okay, so enlarging my object, I'm going to multiply 5.5 times 3, so 5.5 times 3. As we know, 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1, 15, 16, so it's 16, drop the decimal down, 0.5. So now the new length of my object is 16.5 inches. And the height, pretty easy, we don't really have to write that one out. 3 times 3 is 9, so I know it's going to be 9 inches tall. The sides of my object, again, we know it's 9 inches tall. And the depth, the original depth was 2.5, so I need to multiply 2.5 by 3. 2.5 times 3, 15, 6, 7. So now we know it's 7.5 inches deep, okay? And then the last piece, the top, we know it's going to be 16.5 because we know that's the length of the whole object. And then it's going to be 7.5 deep. Okay, so you're either going to need to cut these pieces of cardboard out yourself if you're making something like this, or you can bring the measurements to me and I will cut those for you on the paper cutter. Before you come up, I want you to tell me exactly what those 3 dimensions are. So the original ones are here. This is if you were going to make the radio the same size as it is, but now I need to come up with the dimensions for the enlarged object, right? So the front, I need 2 pieces for the front back, right? This is going to be a piece of cardboard that's 16.5 times 9. I need 2 side pieces, and the 2 side pieces are going to be 7.5 inches times 9. And then I need a top and a bottom, and these are going to be 16.5 inches times 7.5 inches. Okay? Once you get that done, I want you to think about what are you going to need to complete this project, and then list those things here. I'll need cardboard. I think I need paper mache. I need paint. I'll need tape. I'll need markers or other things to decorate it with, decorations. Okay, so you're thinking ahead about what you might need. All right, this is what you're going to need to do for part 1. I'll be back in the next video to show you how to start assembling your structure.